in their series, so let's see where Game 2 is going to take place. That'll be on SHIRE, chosen by HeroesHearth Esports Simplicity, opting for first pick.
They tend to go back to their first pick ways. SHIRE. What are the odds Urel makes it through this draft? It is first pick for Simplicity.
You mean the bans or
through the bans? Yeah, making it through the draft would be a little crazy. through the first bans.
I was like, if she's not banned, she's first pick. I don't know. I think if HeroesHearth are more than comfortable playing against her in that lane, then it becomes it's a known entity, and it gives us whatever we want, be it the Phoenix, be it the Hanzo, for that respect. But she's so annoying to deal with in that solo lane on SHIRE. I'm not sure if we'll see HeroesHearth be willing to devote a ban to her here.
The Malthael versus Urel matchup, Malthael seems like he might be one of the few heroes that can deal with a Urel, but HeroesHearth, they love to run a third melee Thrall. And so that could show itself here. A lot of teams have started to adapt in the draft because it's not normally early, especially HeroesHearth being second pick. It means they have 2 picks before the second ban, and oftentimes it's banned in the second ban slot against them. Sea of Simplicity, they've been known to run the Thrall as well. Maybe they pick it up in their first 3 picks.
When HeroesHearth played versus Endemic and couldn't get Thrall, which they do like on this map too, they've been willing to run it here, what ends up happening is versus Endemic, they ended up picking up a third Malthael melee instead. Did not feel as impactful as their Thrall. It was also on Sky, and that is a great battleground for Endemic, and it seems like their shot calling is on another level from the rest of their maps. When we see them on Sky, it's just so phenomenal. But what an interesting ban, seeing Simplicity take Phoenix away here. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they're not willing to first pick Phoenix, so they sure as heck don't want HeroesHearth to have that. We now know that HeroesHearth uses Phoenix as the bunker buster with that Planet Cracker. That's the new nickname. Planet Cracker is being renamed to Bunker Buster.
I like it. I'm down.
It's taken over. There's no changing it at this point. Genji taking away the high-impact heroes. Hanzo, however, HeroesHearth. And after Crowan's sick play of the game last week, both actual and metaphorically, gotta be wary of it.
I see what you did there. Hey. That was pretty good. If the Urel is to be banned, it will be banned right here. But I think it's very likely if they let it through, then we see the normal, maybe even Blaze Johanna, but the response there from HeroesHearth, if first pick is indeed Urel, and it didn't.
No time.
It took barely anything at all to figure that one out.
Soon as just like, yep, I'm going this.
His Urel it's fun.
HeroesHearth, Gilly, they have so much they can do on this battleground.
Yeah.
Johanna,
Murden is my question mark right now, because I forgot. Are HeroesHearth willing to get Johanna here and give up Murden along with the Urel to Simplicity? No.
This is Jimmy.
I was wondering where you're going with that.
So the Garrosh against a Raynor, I can't even imagine what that's like. Give them some pepper, especially post-level 7. So they're going to take the Hanzo and pick up the Malfurion with it. So they take the Hanzo away. Jaina or Thrall has to be considered in their bans. But will HeroesHearth target the warrior pool of Simplicity?
I mean, Cav played Johanna last game. Unless HeroesHearth is going to ban it here, I think it's possible that Simplicity just goes back into that versus trying to play Garrosh into uncharted territory. HeroesHearth want to ban Tracer. They've already seen Malfurion be picked up for Simplicity. Tracer's already been chosen once by Simplicity this match too, and this time Phoenix gone, Hanzo taken away. It's not as favorable, though they do have a Raynor. Raynor would be heavily reliant on the cooldown of his adrenaline rush and trying to get the self-heal there. HeroesHearth just don't want to deal with it.
For HeroesHearth,
they will do it.
Fall stat. So double autos, Johanna would work well here. Diablo is something to consider, but Diablo versus a Malthael is always terrifying.
Raider can do % damage later on, though. Generally, Paint Them Red has been the favored pick.
Last game, we had an adaptation on that. Hosty picked the armor talent, the % damage and armor, and I guess that technically is the % one. I was more focused on the armor portion of that, but Tyrael Maev. Tyrael sacrifices his crowd control. Maev picks up where he's leaving off.
A lot of engaged potential from that Maev. Probably K1 Pro too. So we're seeing K1 Pro pick up a lot of new heroes in this series. Last pick though, support BBJ. Is he back on Rhaegar? There's also things like Deckard Cain still up. We'll stick with Rhaegar. There was a time when BBJ played almost exclusively Rhaegar and Uther earlier this year.
Almost to the detriment. It's like, we're going to need more. We're going to need more. He said, don't worry, it's coming. And he's been a standout performer for months now. Like, it stopped being like, you start to write the question mark, you weren't sure, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, you start erasing a little bit, and you're like, all right, I got no more question marks. This guy's killing it.
Went from a question mark to an exclamation point.
Yeah, you leave the dot, so you start at the dot, and then you draw a question mark backwards. Oh, that makes me cringe just thinking about it. Nobody writes like that.
You're right, nobody does. If you like started it backwards, though, you could turn it into like a zigzaggy, awesome exclamation point. Think about it. The BBJ classic right there.
All I can think about is like a Harry Potter scarf for an exclamation point. Like, I guess that's a thing.
Well, whether it's a question mark, a bloodlust, or exclamation point of ancestral healing, I might have that backwards.
Wait a minute, hold on.
We're going
Falstad and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Ooh, if I see seasoned marksman, I'm calling bloodlust.
Nope.
Okay, no bloodlust.
This is another Malthael, but this time, instead of having it as the third melee for HeroesHearth, the adjustment of having so many solos taken away from McIntyre, we're going to see McIntyre. And we get to see the Falstad dance. Thank you, Arthalon, from the bottom of our hearts here at HGC.
More why. More why. We don't get more why.
Nope. Look for this first hammering. There it was. Arthalon's going to be working to stack that up with Gathering Storm, the change up away from Seasoned Marksman.
Cena's like, hold on. I wanted to get hit by the hammering.
Well, unfortunately for him, you can't always get what you want.
I mean, he can probably make that happen.
Yeah, that's true. That's
pretty
true.
easily.
Could do that. Falstad on Dragonshire. We see it here and there every now and again. Probably going to be sitting in the mid lane, trying to do some rotations around, but could possibly see him make his way up to the top lane, especially later on once he gets Boomerang instead and be the solo laner there, and let Malthael stay with the rest of the group, especially since we don't see On a Pale Horse this game.
Yeah, I think the rotation top, back to mid, possibly bottom, it's there and back again, a Falstad's tale.
It was always such a treat to get to see a Falstad and Arthalon Falstad at that.
He's crazy with Gust.
He
Arthalon
is.
will always make the risky play. He's calmed down some as the hammer, the roots follow up just off the mark with that hammer knockback. But Arthalon will be willing to rip that. And I wonder if this will be Raiders or a Hyperion. Due to Tranquility being on the other side, Tormented Souls, Hyperion, they're not as impactful due to the healing potential of a Malfurion.
There's also a Sanctification to keep in mind.
Yeah, that is as well.
What I think is fun is Arthalon's bait of the Dragon Knight kick last week on his Falstad 2, though he ended up dying right away to Big E as Big E hit him with a mega Leeming combo.
You could have just left it at that. You could have just left it at that.
Yeah.
It was
neat.
People don't understand how truly impactful that play was.
Yeah.
It might have saved the actual game. Just a barrel roll bait was enough to get the DK down enough. It's such a clutch play. He's willing to make it, though.
Well, more possible clutch plays coming in here as we see him being a nuisance, taking out the well away from Zuna. No well here now means the re-engage possibilities get a little bit harder, and sometimes we see that be done against a Dahaka, and Dahaka has the blessing of a stock back in if he has to back. That's not going to be the case for Zuna, and McIntyre, if he's able to keep that aggression going with the Reaper's marks, which...
You know who does have a well? McIntyre.
Yeah. He's going to use that, get back into the fight. HeroesHearth, though, had to expend a couple of different heroes just to make sure that they could get the bruisers. Now, BBJ is going to have to go back, so they need Ishbu to stay here in the mid because the utilization of those resources back in your camps does leave you fairly light in the heroes who can fight over these shrines.
Cohen doing his best to deal with the Siege Giant's bottom as the minion wave moves forward. BBJ will be here in time, gets the totem, plus the lightning shield down to help get some clear. That was a decent amount of damage done in that bot lane.
I think between taking a while for BBJ to get the bruisers and using Arthalon to get the well all at the same time might have been HeroesHearth. They may look back on this and say, all right, we were trying to do just slightly too much there, because they didn't lose out on a Dragon Knight or anything, but they did sustain some damage at those towers in the bottom, and they did have to keep Ishbu in the mid because of the threat of that Dragon Knight.
Well, the one thing that Malthael can't do that we would see HeroesHearth do in other instances is Ishbu, he'll be tethered, gets the jump out, K1 Pro, puts the spirit out. But Malthael does not have fast wave clear the way that a Blaze would, or even Yrel at this point. And so you're not able to double lane soak. It was more just he had to come mid to deny a Dragon Knight pickup while the rest of his team grabbed at the bottom the shrine.
Yeah.
And so those things, as Tiger JK, he's going to be first blood here. BBJ might be the second as the supports are traded out. Arthalon comes down.
Yeah, that's going to be something that BBJ needs to keep in mind is the last game, there was a focused, concerted effort in diving onto him. This time it's even more possible because of Mamayev. He can't cleanse himself out of a tether. So if he's going to be the one trying to keep his teammates alive, if someone does get hit by that, someone crucial like Raynor, like Falstad too, then he's going to want to make sure that he's not the one being tethered in too, or that's going to be especially problematic for HeroesHearth.
Oh my, Ishbu with just blasting him with Give Him the Axe. Muradin, melee assassin extraordinaire.
The combo of that and Ace in the Hole lets them put out a ton of damage. Just saw it there on K1 Pro 2. They're holding on to the shrines. Arthalon trying to force King Caffeine back enough. Now with the Boomerang clear out the wave, so they might be able to get the channel here. BBJ is going to chase Cap down, chase him away. K1 Pro, though, is here to try to stop HeroesHearth from being able to get this Dragon Knight. Arthalon looking like he feels pretty good on this Falstad here.
It's all about them stacks, Gilly. Stacks, 18 stacks so far. That thing really ramps up right around the 200 mark, which you never hit.
This is such a weird Dragonshire game. Usually one team holds one altar and then they might trade out, but it's never the channel. This game, it's like each team holds both, and then we hold both, and then you hold both, and then, oh, this might change things up. But the hammer was already used there, and the tether too. Cap comes in, dives in with the rest, give him the shields, give him the smite. One jump, two jump,
BBJ.
McIntyre from the side.
BBJ goes in for the bite. Now he's going to get punished. He gets pulled in. BBJ a little over-aggressive. They are going to trade out onto the Hanzo, but still a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Simplicity. Ooh, BBJ was hungry. He was hungry. I see him. He's going. Then he kept going. I'm like, oh, down doggo. And then, well, down doggo didn't happen. Just not the type you want.
Yeah, he got put in the kennel for a little while. He'll be back. It happens when you're trying to chase down a Yrel. You forget the Vindication healing, all that she can do, the Maraud's Insight, self-heal too. It's kind of like chasing down a Garrosh.
Or a car tire?
Sure, yeah, all of those things. Yeah,
With
that
dogs
does
too.
happen with dogs.
Rip
A
tire.
mailman.
Whenever a rip tire comes in, then we know we've hit the new meta.
Are they chasing the tires? I thought they were chasing the car.
No. Well, there's a last right choose. I lived in the country during my Kentucky days at times, and there were some dogs. They would chase after the car, and they would be biting the tire as it was. The dogs were mental. I wish I had a good explanation for you, but I don't.
Well, you know, dogs will be dogs. Heroic abilities here now with both the teams. No Tranquility this game for Tiger JK. He's picking Twilight Dream to combo off the Warden's Cage, the Dragon's Arrow too, but then they still have the safety of Sanctification and Ardent Defender, so that does try to make up for not having the Tranquility there for healing up. It just means that they're trying to stop a lot of the initial damage with Sanctification versus healing back up to allow them to re-engage. Everything as you would expect from HeroesHearth 2. No Bloodlust despite the Falstad and the Rainer, but the safety of Ancestral Healing worked out very well for HeroesHearth in the last game, and I expect that to continue.
With this build for Falstad, Giant Killer is available at 13, but when we see Mage Stat, it's normally the cooldown reduction at 13. Yeah. We have seen some hybrid builds in the past. I don't know if this is one. Rainer at 16, as you had mentioned earlier, does have that percentage base damage available.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
You were worried about the response?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
One thing I will note is though HeroesHearth is the team that picked this battleground, and though I still feel like they, of course, have the advantage, what we have seen from Simplicity is a skirmish-heavy battleground is not the worst thing for them, and maybe something for them to keep in mind going forward, because they are a team that likes to get into those 1v1s, 2v2s, the skirmishes. We saw that versus No Tomorrow, fights that happened all across the screen. Could be hard to keep up with at times. So for them, they've been able to keep up quite well with HeroesHearth Esports, and a lot of that has been keeping the pressure going around those shrines. I think that is something that hurts Simplicity at times, is their lack of focus on a single target or a single area. With this lineup, though, a Maiev and a Tyrael, there's no avoiding a single focus. Yes, it's quite clear who you should be attacking. Yes. K1 Pro, he's going to fall. It's 13 picked up by both teams. Mage Camp continuing to do damage in the bot lane as HeroesHearth. Can they make something happen off of this? Is Yrel coming down and the bot contemplating it? Might look for a fight, but Tiger JK low. The slows between Ishbu and having the slow from Unstable Compound chunked through Tiger JK. He has no ice block here if things get in too much trouble. Avatar and Ancestral Healing, though. And now an Ardent Defender. That is so well played. The timing on that was absolutely perfect. The whole thing was, without 13, that doesn't happen. It's healing static. I'm good. I'm going to use Avatar. I'm staying on point. Ancestral me when I get this low. And it was all because they sent Malthael to the top. The timing was perfect. They got the Dragon Knight. Now they get a kill on Yrel. Everything that HeroesHearth has done. Wait a minute. Rhaegar went flying with Tyrael there. You know what happens when you try and bite somebody right as they get kicked? You go with them. Seen some instances of that. Things like Vorpal Blade 2, taking people for a ride, very in charge, going not where intended. But nevertheless, Rhaegar's just fine. Yeah, that timing was perfect. It was so good from HeroesHearth. And then to punish using Ardent Defender on the point, getting a last right stack out of the deal, very well done for HeroesHearth. I can guarantee you, after having the privilege to listen to these teams at Midseason Brawl and the like, that there's not a single ounce of panic in their bodies. It is, I'm going to sit on point. Ishbu, one of the best we've got right now, he just stands there. He's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Just Ancestral me. We're fine. There was probably not a single ounce of, uh-oh, are we going to make this happen? It was just like, we're doing this, and it's easy. That is how good this team is, Gilly. It's also the benefit of having a global on SHIRE, is you have a slight advantage in your rotations as long as, well, it's furthered even more if you get the lead. And now, no fort was taken down, but HeroesHearth have a level lead that is quickly turning into level 16 ahead of Simplicity, who are doing everything they can to keep HeroesHearth at bay when that 16 hits. They've gotten both of their camps They're going to be able to push out that top 2 as we see Malthael and Falstad were in the mid. Zuna does need to be cautious, given that Malthael and Falstad are going to find him in that rotation. But for Simplicity, it's all about keeping HeroesHearth at bay, not losing too much with the 16 lead.
Yrel, that health bar got super low.
Can't even see it.
Yeah. The threat of that duo has been significant throughout this game. Arthalon, 24 stacks. Just the opportunities to stack have not been there. He's played more of the map control than anything. So level 1 talent, nothing crazy. Does have 13 and 16 though. Nice synergy with the mage stat build to get the cooldown reduction on your trait, and then of course the cooldown reduction on your abilities.
Simplicity's caught up to 16 before the Shrine activation phase. 1 camp on the board. Calf dodges the Stormbolt, knowing that was necessary with Arthalon and McIntyre up at the top. The rest of the team chasing him down could have been dangerous. Caffeine gets the juke with the Warden's Cage, and they take out Arthalon. That was nifty.
Oh, that is such a feels bad moment. You are just like, boy, I have all these abilities that I can get away with, but none of them work. There were 3 heroics used there on the side of Simplicity to confirm that kill.
Yeah, the Dragon's Arrow, we saw the Warden's Cage too, and then Twilight Dream, just to ensure that Falstad couldn't get tricksy on his way out. Now Simplicity, if they could, would love to be able to get themselves a Dragon Knight now, have the Holy Ground to keep Ishbu away. For the moment, can Zuna hold on to this as the rotations go up? Tyrael doing the same in the bottom. Channel started a lot seen there. We see a couple people moving in. Ishbu gets stopped, and they do it. Simplicity claims a Dragon Knight. They're fighting back in this game too.
Well, Arthalon's come up to support Zuna, Ardent Defender. Has the mobility to get away. Last rites, the heal, just enough.
That was...
He's like, oh, you got me?
Had to make it out with Avenging Wrath, but he used almost all of his Ardent Defender to soak up whatever damage he could. You saw McIntyre moving around, knowing that he was likely to jump out, but then getting the mount running away. Having the last rites there, but then Vindication heals him up. Zuna flexing on this Yrel, showing just how many games he truly has played with her.
Despite the double bans at the beginning, Yrel still finding her way through drafts, and her impact definitely being felt in that first pick. There's the cleanse onto the boot, so Raynor can stay in to return some damage, but this DK is strong enough to work its way through the fort. Arthalon in this instance, now he's stacking up the hammer, 35 stacks. Ishbu diving in, they're looking for a fight. That is King Cap on a Tyrael, hard to take down.
Yeah, the Dragon Knight separated from the rest, trying to bring down this fort in the mid. That was the first fort of the game, 14 minutes, 45 seconds in.
Oh, we're full
taking that down. Really. Yeah, it's gonna be the slow play, slow burn this game.
NA is watching this, like, look, our match is next. We'll watch a little bit of HGC, and they're like, God, 38-minute match, what in the world? And then we're 15 minutes in, we got our first fort down. We're like, wait a minute, hold on, history, will it repeat itself? Highly doubtful, as we got a fight underway on the side of HeroesHearth. Warden's Cage is here. The Mighty Gust has forced away multiple targets. Ishbu being tethered this way, and that does receive the Ancestral. The fight rages on. Twilight Dream hits onto 4 members. And Simplicity, despite all the fireworks, unable to get a takedown. HeroesHearth used their full complement of heroics too, though.
They needed it, because that was a pretty flank from K1 Pro. Something that I have been waiting a long time to be able to see. He's shown it here and there. He's brought in his Jaina flanks. He's been able to show it on his Phoenix somewhat too, but here coming in with the Spirit, getting a lot of people in the Warden's Cage, but a quick uptake on the Gust to ensure that it bought time for HeroesHearth to escape. The thing is though, Avatar and Ancestral Healing being used there too, a lot of those heroic abilities just to stop in the Warden's Cage. But with so many heroics being used by Simplicity too, it's really a net gain. Not too much either way, except for the steal of the camp for Simplicity.
We heard the flight there by Arthalon. They wanted to gank top. Zuna with the awareness to back away because Ishbu was there as well. Now we see the focus on the camp at the bottom here for Simplicity. Will give them bot lane pressure when they do not have the global. That keeps the bottom lane under control for them. See if they try to push forward with this. Highly unlikely, but it does give them the availability to move around the map. They have vision control. They can get the bottom shrine if they want, look for a pick for a short term, and then start to get back to that lane control. Right now, unable to find anything on the map, but they are scouting right now, while also both teams rapidly approaching the level 20.
I think Simplicity were wanting to save soak, or maybe thinking about pushing down that mid 4, or maybe just seeing if they could get a pick there, but they had the bottom lane pushed out with the bruisers, didn't pick up the shrine at the start of that. Now HeroesHearth will make it back on the point in the bottom, and with the camp in the top, HeroesHearth is going to have some time where they've claimed both of the shrines. Urel has to give up, focus on that camp so that she can get in with a wind tunnel.
Ooh.
Arthalon was hoping he could get a cheeky Dragon Knight. Calf has been dodging storm bolts like he's been dodging wrenches in practice. That was excellent, and they burned the gust. We'll be back in 45 seconds, but still Simplicity doing well.
Who throws wrenches at him and why?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a wind tunnel.
But there are no wrenches in the games. That means somebody's throwing wrenches at him IRL. What the hell kind of practice
There
do you
are
have?
wrenches in plans.
Oh, so more of a metaphor. He has Holy Ground if he wants to see if he can lock Arthalon in there.
Looking at 20, we did see the wind tunnel. Just checking out the rest. No Farseer's Blessing for BBJ. Storm Shield still there. Astral Communion's going to make it easier for Tiger JK to get good positioning around this Twilight Dream. Holy Arena, 1 extra second of the invulnerability. We haven't seen too many Sanks happen this game. It's always there.
Arthalon's moving to the bottom channel, has that global to come up, and Simplicity, they're going to rotate down to reclaim this. See if they use the global to force an advantageous fight in the mid. Zuna jumps in, body blocks are there, the knockback, self-cleanse. The Mount unable to get out. Last Rites is there, but the Ardent Defender in time.
Long cooldown, and now the team wants to get aggressive because they've used that. Ancestral Healing doesn't connect. Malthael goes down, but it's Malthael. He has no one can stop death, and he'll be back. Stun hits, K1 Pro vaults out, pulling Ishbu. The team has made it back after getting the bot. A great engagement start by HeroesHearth using that global. Simplicity, it seemed like they would lose Urel, but making it into Ardent Defender. We'll see if HeroesHearth can do anything to take advantage of that, because a lot more heroics were used by Simplicity there, but there are still a couple of crucial ones for HeroesHearth, and Sanctification if needed for Cap.
Ishbu with the stun. Saved that fight last game with the K1 initiation. There's going to be the pullback. There's the Mighty Gust. It might actually be enough time. BBJ is going to get the channel. Self-cleanse by Zuna. Gets the knockback, but the channel's here. The problem with this is that is your support in the DK. You have forts to still go through, so you will take some damage as you push forward, and Simplicity could potentially dive behind this to take a fight. This is not a guarantee to get a tremendous amount of structure damage in. And with the support in this, look at the position of HeroesHearth. They are very far back.
Yeah, it is a problem when you have to put your support, but it was not a choice that they could have time to make. Even still, a 20-minute Dragon Knight takes out the fort in mid, and other forts have taken damage, namely the top especially. HeroesHearth will continue to play this one patiently. Not going to push in too far, not at all, not versus a Tyrael Maiev with Holy Ground. The roots from Malfurion too, but Maiev will have Warden's Cage back in just a few seconds. It's far too risky in having your Rhaegar in that Dragon Knight.
The fight was great, the Mighty Gust was good, but this is all that it's netting. This is crazy to think about. Having flashbacks of that game earlier in EU, Gilly.
The thing is, the longer this game goes, it depends. Simplicity have a lot of veterans on their team, but they also haven't been winning throughout part 1. I could see them starting to get panicked, whereas we know HeroesHearth has the discipline in these long fights.
You got to make that big play to get the win because you're so desperate for it. HeroesHearth they are so used to winning, they're just like, oh, this is normal. Arthalon sitting on 63 stacks, gathering more of that storm, but
wow,
those will start to hurt. The body block, just enough wiggle room for Ishbu to get through there. He is staying in deep. There's a knockback on the stun. Avatar is out. Stun misses in return. King Caffeine, though, used his holy ground. He's on an island by himself. Zuna's coming to join him. He's like, let's party. As Simplicity coming in to make the plays.
Yeah, play of the game. Forces out the Ancestral Healing to keep McIntyre alive. It's a long cooldown to be used, along with the wind tunnel of the Mighty Gust, too. A couple of heroic abilities maybe overlapping for the save of Malthael, especially since Malthael, not sure if no one can stop Death's back, but it's been a while since he used that, too. But not wanting to burn that ability, that is a pretty long cooldown. And it allows McIntyre to head up to the top to clear out these bruisers. Bottom lane camp dealt with. Now one camp on the map. Simplicity has a very good idea of where HeroesHearth currently is.
They do have holy ground. And it's right in the middle. That is a heavy commitment. No Dragon Arrow. Zuna's like, to heck with it, I'm going in. He's stunned. There's the self-cleanse into Last Rites. Perfectly timed. Not enough for the takedown instantly, but they do get the follow-up on that. So well timed by McIntyre. There's the Mighty Gust, and everybody's stuck in here with Simplicity.
Well, he's going to have to Twilight Dream out of this if he has any chance of saving the rest of his team, because there's hardly any way he gets out of that. Arthalon nearly went down, but that's a double kill for HeroesHearth.
Oh!
He avoids the Dragon's Arrow that may have claimed his life there. Hosty doing what he can, desperate to give them another kill. He took the play of the game.
Oh, no.
So now he is all alone on the other side of the map. A triple kill for HeroesHearth. The Simplicity, communication maybe not on the same page. Maybe it was some of that panic coming back in. You saw the Eldrune there. Zuna dove in. Zuna took a ton of damage, losing his Ardent Defender there, then losing his life. The Last Rites this time, making sure that he was low enough that you could get that, even with the healing of Vindication. And that might be enough for HeroesHearth to get a Dragonite and look toward a keep even more.
Hanzo wanted to trade out there, I think. It was quite literally trying to make the play of the game just to trade out. If Hanzo lives there, we're looking at a much easier defense. Despite this being a 24-minute DK, you would still have Hanzo ripping some damage onto this, but Hanzo's still 13 seconds away. This DK at 24 minutes in will terrorize these structures. Self-cleanse in by Zuna. DK still at 90%, will head directly to core as HeroesHearth looking to go up 2-0.
Watch for Arthalon to get the wind tunnel going. Sets it up there. Hosty comes in from the side with the play of the game. Focus on a lot of different people from HeroesHearth, but one person they are not attacking is Malthael inside that Dragonite. GG's, HeroesHearth takes game 2. I want to shout out though, Simplicity hung in that game for a long time.
I don't want to call you prophetic, but you did say that somebody on Simplicity, when you're antsy for a win, sometimes you press those buttons you don't normally press. And that was, look at the damage that Hosty did in this game, 120,000 almost. Everybody else on the team, they were playmakers and setup. There was no extra damage. Maiev has seen so many changes, so many different nerfs. You really get damage out of the resets on Fan of Knives, but every time there was those engagements, there was the disengage by the Mighty Gust. So it was hard for K1 Pro to find the initiation that they wanted. The one in the middle, I got to shout out, Ishbu landed a stun because K1 Pro teleport, he blinked in directly into the middle of that team, was ready to hit the 3-person tether, the Warden's Cage, and try and send this puppy home. And then Ishbu, the minute he comes in, had the hammer ready, got the stun, and then we saw the 1-person tether, the 1-person Warden's Cage, and there was no follow-up to be had on a Muradin at that point. But that play by Ishbu saved a lot of damage coming towards his team right in that middle team fight before we got the big breakout fight with Zuna falling. So HeroesHearth, they made all the right plays to stay in this game, but Simplicity did fight tough. Just they got antsy.
They did. But those kinds of plays for HeroesHearth, they are more than willing and have shown how good they are at punishing those kinds of things. And it's one reason why they find themselves up not only 2-0 here, but maybe about to be undefeated throughout this part. We'll see if that's going to happen in a quick 3-0 sweep after this break. Don't go anywhere. This is the HGC.